All right, welcome to Modern Mondays here at Guardian Games in Portland, Oregon. We're Portland Paper. I'm Travis Cooper, hanging out with,
I'm Urchin Collie. It's good to see y'all again.
and we're bringing you 4 rounds of analog Magic the Gathering here in the modern format. And round number one, it looks like we're going to have an interesting matchup here.
Sure, I do understand that.
Yep, we're going to see the 5-color Niv Mizzet Reborn deck, if you haven't seen that one around. And he's going to face off against a blue-red tempo deck, which I am interested to see what is going on in there. Have you seen this Niv Mizzet Reborn deck?
I have not actually seen it in action. I've read on the deck list dumps that seen it's 5-0'd a couple times. Seems really interesting. I would love to see a Niv Mizzet Reborn actually cast and resolved in Modern. That would check something off the list.
It happens really reliably in this deck, and they're really built around like ramping to domain as fast as possible and dropping either a Niv Mizzet or a Bring to Light, which can find Niv Mizzet or whatever you need at the time. And their deck is full of these utility one-ofs, so a ton of interaction in the deck, and just like plan is big dragon, pick up a fistful of interaction, close it out.
Okay, and do we imagine that blue-red tempo is going to be basically like the prowess style deck with some thing in the ices, prowess creatures, basically Arclight Phoenix minus looting and Arclight?
Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't talked to Chris about his list, but I've also seen blue-red lists lately moving into Kiln Fiend as their payoff for all their spell slinging.
Yeah, if you don't expect a lot of removal, Kiln Fiend can be a pretty smooth and easy turn 3 kill.
Yeah. Oh. Time to bottom a card first.
I think I've finally gotten over feeling like I'm cheating when I mulligan these days.
Right? All right, we've got a Spiral of Canal into a Terramender, and it looks like we do have the headers swapped, so we will get that fixed real quick for you. For Dave here, we're going to have a Windswept Heath. See an Astrolabe in his hand, which is pretty strong in this deck. I'm not sure if this deck functions without Astrolabe, to be perfectly honest. Usually see them running a lot of basics that are snow, specifically for Astrolabe. Maybe Birds of Paradise, Search for Tomorrow, things like that to get their snow main ready.
Yeah, Astrolabe has really enabled a lot of strategies in all the formats to be able to play basics and play 3 to 4 colors.
Yeah, no, Astrolabe is an incredible card, just across a lot of decks.
Big one, going to 18.
Terramender's going to get in for 1 here, and let's see what the follow is. Start filling that graveyard with spells to adapt.
Serum Visions?
Sure.
Cantrip time.
Yeah, Terramander, a card that when it was first released was the hot new business being played in Legacy, Modern. Some saw it as a replacement for Delver, but it's faded away a bit since then.
Yeah, it didn't really stick. Didn't quite find its place. There was just too much going on in the Izzet Phoenix deck that was better. And it's interesting to see now with Faithless Looting gone, kind of disabling the birds, that it's being experimented with again. But Astrolabe across so many formats. Control decks, artifact decks, combo decks, prison decks, just anything. And it's really pushing the basic count up in Modern because of the incentive to play Snow, even just for that card.
I'll play Breeding Pool tapped. And
Tap, Breeding Pool, and a pass. So 3 colors available, but 2 lands. We haven't seen any ramp yet from Dave. Actually, 5 colors available, but... See what we get from Chris here.
Scalding Tarn?
Sure.
Terramander's not very threatening right now with just 1 instant or sorcery in the graveyard.
Not yet.
Big one.
Get in there.
17.
1.
It does feel like since the looting ban that you've kind of been able to figure out when your opponent's going to be able to get like the equivalent of threshold in Modern now with the amount of mana they have available, like the maximum amount of cards that can conceivably end up in the graveyard in 1 turn.
Absolutely. It is much easier to assess the threat level of your opponent when they're not just going to dump surprises into the graveyard.
Go Vista.
We're going to see Prismatic Vista, which can fetch up any basic he wants, which is this card is so good in these multicolored decks. It's enabling, I think, 3-color and more decks in a really big way.
Yeah, starting to creep into Modern. It was, when it first got released, just immediately went over to Legacy, but now we're seeing the Urza decks and things like Nib Bring to Light playing Prismatic Vista in combo, usually with Astrom's Astrolabe.
Yep, those go together extremely well.
Before end of turn.
We're just going to pass with that Vista.
I'll actually just. Cool.
We're going to not...
Before end of turn, I will crack my.
okay, we're going to crack Tarn end of turn here.
Get you at 19.
Yep.
It took me a minute of playing with Vista where I had to stop myself
I
from
know.
getting dual lands.
I see, my biggest problem was it'll be like end of turn. I was like, this is
It doesn't
highly
matter.
unnecessary. You can actually just sit there and say, my land short? I don't want to crack this end of turn. You lose nothing. Which is just a very different play pattern, which is kind of neat. All right, Fiery Islet, which is I don't know how many lands he's really going to need, but that's going to allow a redraw when he wants it.
Crack Vista.
Oh, Dave might not be taking 2. What are we going to get?
What is happening here?
I'm guessing a Snowland.
That seems likely. But we'll see what kind of interaction he has. There's just a lot of one-of interactive spells in this deck. Removal spells, Hand Hate. Izzet Charm is one they play. See what is going on here.
And will Lightning Helix one of the Terror?
It's a Helix. Terramender down, I'll gain 3. Undo your work.
Okay.
So 16.
And how many Lightning Helixes do we have hanging out in Dave's deck?
I'm going to guess 1, like a lot of his spells. Pretty much. Oh, actually, there's 3, I believe, in his list, since we
Okay.
have a copy of it here. But for the most part, the deck tends to run multiples of Bring to Light, Niv Mizzet, really potent things like Wrenn and 6, which allows you to recycle those vistas and just go straight to your snowman. But otherwise, like a lot of their interaction is one-offs. Just because it allows you to more likely be able to pick them all up off of Niv Mizzet.
Tap for black. Play Cast Discipline.
Oh, Kess. Kess is
Ew.
a sweet one.
I will Mana Leak.
Sure.
Oh, Kess would have been a sweet one. Mana Leak is going to take that down. I don't blame you, Chris.
I do feel like a lot of these decks that are playing really sweet cards that cost 4+ mana, it's like when they resolve, you have such this huge advantage, but in Modern, if you're playing against a blue deck, that's a big ask.
Yeah. Worth noting, Chris has a Young Pyromancer from his previous turn and now an Elemental to go with it off the Mana Leak.
Attack.
What do we think those are on the elemental token?
14.
Is that rain?
I'm
Yeah.
seeing Rain and Doug Furs there. So that was an attack for 4. Dave
I-
gonna fall to 15, I think.
Let's tap this for bird.
Bird's a word.
Okay.
Pretty vital in this deck. Just another rainbow source.
Play Teferi.
Fairy Time Reveler.
Response.
That's gonna make
Fairy.
a lot of those
I'm gonna opt.
Sure.
counter spells and instant speed interaction
Dude.
real impossible. But we're gonna get an elemental real quick. We're gonna check out our options.
And is that a count of 4 instants or sorceries in the graveyard for Chris here?
One of those is a Terramander, so that's 3. Serum Vision's Mana Leak and Opt. So adapting Terramander currently costs 4. Technically doable, a little inefficient.
Bounce your Young Pyro.
Okay.
We're gonna bounce Young Peasy here.
Hand.
Yes.
So basically, this Teferi is acting as a pseudo fog for 1 damage and
Play
cantrip.
Prismatic Vista for turn.
Reasonable. Oh, look at that
you
Vista
get
shiny.
one shot, right?
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Go for it.
I wonder if it's getting close to Niv Mizzet o'clock. What do you think about Mana Leak in the format right now? We weren't seeing it for a long time, and it's
I'll
popped way up.
Oh,
Oh, can't do that.
yep. We had Chris trying to pull the Teferi, but then realizing that's a take back.
Yeah.
When you
I think Mana Leak always fluctuates.
Well,
in
that'll
control
have
and
to
tempo
be-
decks.
I'll do that
We haven't
now.
seen a lot of
Okay.
reman, seen
So
Mana
I'll
Leak
hold it
lately.
there.
It feels like people were really onto Logic Knot, except
You
with
don't
all
get
the
a
graveyard hate in the past
thing.
6 months, that sort of
you
got
don't pay
slimmed
much.
down.
Oh, you're right. You're
But
right.
yeah, if you want to answer and you're playing a deck that's going to win before like turn 5 or 6 or be in a commanding position, I like Mana Leak.
Okay.
Really like
so I
Remand
will put
too,
out
but
the
haven't
pirate.
seen a lot of that
Right,
lately.
Tyler comes out.
Yeah, Remand much more of a tempo card, and I'm not sure where tempo strategies are right now. Obviously the meta is still in major flux, but
yeah.
it seems like a lot more mid-range strategies over classic tempo strategies. And Remand is one of those cards that really has to fit into your deck just so, I think.
It matters particularly when I
Mana Leak, on the other hand, just, punishes people trying to play on curve.
swamp.
When you see it, is it time?
5-color trade binder.
5-color trade binder.
10 now?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Tap. Draw a card for turn. Tap for green, white, red, blue, black.
No.
Rainbows! Rainbow
You got a Mana
Dragon!
Leak?
Play, I look at the
Good
top,
time for Mana Leak. Real good
I
time.
would definitely Mana Leak that, Chris.
If you were looking for a target, he only has a Bolt and the land in hand, I think. He's pretty flooded here.
Yep. Cool.
And here we go, top 10.
1, 2,
We can pick up one from each color pair.
4,
How many are we going to get? Oh, the value. Oh, this is so gross.
7, 8,
He's not flipping any lands.
9,
Oh,
10. Holy shit,
Okay.
I don't think I've ever had a hit like this.
that's
So,
8 cards. So he gets to
Orzhov,
pick between 2
um,
Boros cards, but otherwise he's putting 8 cards into his hand off this Niv Mizzet. He's going to discard it in a turn.
Okay, so I'm gonna take.
All right. Oh no, he has a Supreme Verdict and a Teferi, so he has 2 Azorius cards as well. So he's not going to get both those. He's going to get 7 cards. So what are the
Take
pickups?
Fairy over Supreme Verdict, and so I'll take these 7 cards into my hand.
Oh my god. So we've got Unmordigo, Izzet Charm, Teferi Time Reveler. Can't quite see a couple of these, Deafening Clarion and Kai's Guile. We're going to pass on Lightning, Helix, Supreme Verdict, and obviously the land, which you cannot pick up.
Can you see this one?
Well, this was...
That grabs me a plains or a forest.
Okay, so that one is
All right. These two.
whatever card
we
functionally
got
is
some
flower.
reading going on here.
Yeah.
Hell of a hit.
I'm not
All
quite
right,
sure
yeah, it is.
what that one is.
I think a
cool.
Deafening Clarion is on
Yeah,
the
there's a
top.
Deafening
Yeah.
Clarion in there. I'm not sure what the green-white spell was. It sounds like the effectively flower from the split card. All right, go to cleanup. That was exciting.
If I was Chris, I might bolt before cleanup to try to generate another token and then hope to top deck something like another Lightning Bolt or Snapcaster. Because depending on how Dave blocks, you might be able to. That might be your path to
That might be your
victory
line.
here.
Yeah,
If
he's
Dave untaps next turn, Chris is not winning the game.
no. So there's 4 instances sorceries in the graveyard, a bolt in hand. If we bolt now, we'll be adapting for 3, and if we somehow piece something together, we can do it. The other option is to hold the bolt and try to draw either another bolt, or if he's running Snapcaster, a way to snap bolt, because he's got enough land. We opted not to redraw off the Fiery Islet.
Hey, I liked bolting at the end of turn just to get another token in there for an
That's
all-out
true.
swing.
On the other hand, Dave at 10, not exactly the life total you want when you've got a Terramander and a 6/6 flyer sitting there.
You get a dude.
19's a comfortable enough life total that Dave may be forced to hold up blockers until he can remove the Terramander, but,
Yeah, but we know that Deafening Clarion's
That's
on
true.
Dave's side of the table, so if he untaps, then, well, that's that for Chris's board.
ugh, rude. This is so cool.
Well, so that guy, he's got Sunday sickness.
Yep, no worries.
All right. See what we can do.
Vapor Snag?
Oh, that's bold.
Yes.
That's bold.
I think that's another reason why I like to bolt at the end of turn, where if you have a Vapor Snag in your deck,
9.
would be an additional point of damage coming across here.
It's true. He didn't have it last turn, but if you know you could draw into it, it's a very reasonable thing. I would probably block with the bird here if you're Dave. You don't need it. You're going to recast Niv Mizzet. You're going to get to do that again. So I would block the Terramander just... Oh, he's going to take
4
it.
damage.
Yeah, we're going to
To
adapt.
be Terramander.
So that's coming in for 9. That's lethal. Whoops.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I guess I can't block that, can I?
No.
He's 4.
He'll be 5.
5.
Or +4, +4.
6,
So
7, 8,
let me,
9.
Let me do this here.
So that'll kill me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
6.
Okay.
So he costs 2 to activate.
Yep.
Yeah, so missing the block with that bird
then that's
here allows this lethal attack.
Okay.
It was
Well,
still going to be tough because Dave was getting pressured, but with the deafening clarion
Shame.
and putting down a 6/6, I think you still get
No,
there.
it's really, really, really shitty, honestly.
Yeah, sometimes when you draw like 9
No, I
cards,
know
you think,
exactly
how
what
can
it
I
was.
lose? I've got all these cards in my hand.
I'm familiar with that feeling, and I've had to pull up short sometimes because I've been just drowning in card draw and loving it, and then realizing I'm about to deck myself.
Wow.
I do like being on the other side of that table and figuring out how to play to your outs when your opponent has so many more
Oh.
resources than you, and to like walk that line when you actually get there.
Oh yes,
Um,
no, that's the clever stuff.
Also, it's a situation too where if you're Chris, yeah, just knowing you're probably going to lose, there's no reason not to just swing with everything and hope your opponent makes a mistake.
Yep. I mean, if you have
having
no
your-
other outs.
having your opponent make a mistake is always you never want to plan on that happening, but always leave the option for your opponent to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if your other line
I
is
suck at this game.
a guaranteed loss, why not? Swing out. So we're gonna look at some sideboard options for our players here.
Are we on a bunch of one-ups for Nib Mizzet?
Yeah, we'll get there. So for Chris's blue-red tempo deck, we are looking at 2 copies of Blood Moon. Those seem... He's got a lot of basics, but those still seem fairly relevant. Maybe not. I don't know. 2 Flame Slash, 2 Izzet Staticaster, 1 Grim Lavamancer, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Narset, 2 Ceremonious Rejection, and a Braid and a Ral Izzet Viceroy.
I definitely like Narset and the Spell Pierces. I feel like Chris wants to develop his board and then just be chipping in for damage and maybe finish off with some burn. Dave's removal spells are usually at 2+ mana here, and so Spell Pierce can get you that tempo advantage. And catch you back up if your opponent goes to like cast a Planeswalker, or I know there's Wrenn and 6 in
Yeah.
Dave's deck, so being able to nab that on on your turn 1, your opponent's turn 2 seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Astrolab has really thrown a weird wrench in Blood Moon plans in both Modern and Legacy, where if you're able to fetch out a basic and an Astrolab, that opens up a lot of play to decks that Blood Moon usually would traditionally shut down.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe leave those out. Not too strong in Modern right now. Spell Pierce also noteworthy because the real plan of the Niv Mizzet deck is as fast as possible, get 5 mana sources of one of each color and just jam a Bring to Light or a Niv Mizzet, which
Yeah.
feels pretty bad when that gets Spell Pierced.
Great notion,
Yeah,
Dylan.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
I love
for
that.
the Niv Mizzet Bring to Light deck, we are looking at another Lightning Helix, a Dove in Hands of Control, a Comball, an Izzet Charm, a Lavinia, a Maelstrom Pulse, a Hostage Taker, a Teferi Time Raveler, an Ashiok Dream Render, a Tameo Collector of Tales, a Nahiri the Harbinger, a Knight of Autumn, a Crumble to Dust, and
Thankless as a
2 Shatter Assumptions.
You gotta read on Shatter Assumptions.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to refresh on that. I believe that's the one that causes your opponent to discard either all colored spells or all multicolored spells or all colorless spells, but I can't completely
I feel
recall.
like I want to go Gordon Ramsay on
It
that
was,
board.
I remember it being
And you're like, hey, like, there's just
a literally unplayable limited card.
Well, let's see if we can pull that one up. Let's see if I
Shatter
can spell
Assumptions.
Shatter, not
You
shattered.
get a weekend now?
We are gonna actively shatter those.
No,
They are not
my
already
weekend
shattered.
is Saturday, Sunday. So, yeah. 6 more days? What day is today? Monday?
So I'm trying to think here. This is a more than a little hard to analyze because there's all these one-ups. Lightning Helix seems strong. He's already got 3 in the main, but still great. Comball, pretty punishing for a tempo deck. I don't hate Izzet
3
Charm.
to midnight, so
Teferi was strong, could be that.
sleep in, it'll be
Um,
fine.
The
There's a lot
Fairy
of
just being
options.
able to bounce Terramander draw your card. That seems all right. I do like the Lightning Helix against these tempo decks. Gaining life is really important.
Absolutely.
You could maybe even see a Cabal, but I'm not sure. If you have enough worse cards to take out, I feel like it's a fine ad. It's
Absolutely.
not going to win the game, but
Yeah, but you might do something like lose the Kaya's Guile for it.
yeah.
Well, actually, Kaya's Guile will dump the graveyard and stop the Terramander for adapting for cheap, but it's, I don't know if you want combo more than that. He dies to Bolt. Like many good things. Including me.
So, Shatter Assumptions. Opponent reveals their hand and discards all colorless non-land cards. Are all multicolored cards.
I'm a little confused. This seems like a card for the Niv Mizzet Mirror, but I'm sure he's got a plan in mind.
Pretty good against, I would say, any Tron variant.
Yeah, it may be a little slow, but still really strong.
Turn 1 bird, turn 2 Shatter Assumptions. Get up.
Okay, that'll work. That'll do. Goodbye, your cards. Large and small. Good against scales is the comment from chat. Yeah, it definitely good against scales, especially if you can ramp it out on 2. You don't want them to do the full artifact barf, but scales does that significantly less than classic affinity. Good against Eldrazi, another good point. Eldrazi Tron, Eldrazi midrange. Just can absolutely hose them.
Jesus. Sure, why not?
And
Let's
also
go
wanted to
ahead
call it
and
hello to
put-
chat. Welcome back. It's good to see y'all every Monday. There's a lot of you that we see every week, and it's always really fun. And Lantern Freddy, oh, okay. And you, I was about to say, don't insult my unplayable prison deck.
All right. Yes.
Just
All right, Dave gonna start with a Vista. See if we see a bird or an astrolabe. What do we got?
I'm guessing Astrolabe. I kind of feel it a little bit.
Could be anything.
Well, yeah, you get a forest, so maybe we're on the bird plan. The suspense.
Oh, you were right. It's an astrolabe. Faked me out with the forest.
and draw a card. Go ahead.
Draw.
Well, hope you didn't board in Blood Moons, Chris.
Delta. Crack. 19.
19 all.
Oh, thank you, Vile Flicker Wisp.
Island.
We are gonna fetch Delta for Island.
Not this
Cast a
time.
cantrip probably seems likely.
Terramander.
Oh,
Delver.
Delver. All right.
Pass.
Cool.
Wow, is Delver ever going to flip? I feel when I tried Delver in Modern, it just sat there.
Yeah, I know. I had a 1/1. It was not good. Just my luck though. I don't know. Better players than I can flip Delvers.
Play Stomping Ground tapped and pass the turn.
I feel like it's something you definitely have to practice at home, flipping your Delvers before you go to an event. If you don't, I mean, it's,
Spider Bluff.
You'll never get it.
yeah.
Okay, so
just
no
you gotta
Delver
stay a human wizard.
Go for 1.
Getting in for 1.
Bam.
18.
Delver and Terramander. Unflipped 1/1s. Oh, we flip those. We're doing something real. We don't.
Let's go pillar, tap for white, red, deafening clarion, 3
Oh,
damage.
there they go.
Deafening clean it up.
Oh,
Ouch.
yeah. Yep.
Go for it.
Would have been a nice swing for 6.
Before end of turn.
What are we doing end of turn?
I'll
Nothing. I'm gonna take a
Draw.
peek. Oh, what a flip too. Darn it. Pick up his lightning bolt. Ugh.
I feel like it's been years since I've seen Delver flip in Modern, to be honest.
Sure.
I mean, I tried it for a couple of weeks, and it still would have been years since you saw Delver flipped in Modern. All right. Fourth land.
Runes,
Count down
white,
to Niv Mizzet.
green,
What are we doing?
Johnny the Great-Hearted.
Oh,
Okay.
sup, Johnny the Great-Hearted. So this is the one that I believe gains life,
I will put
adds
him up
counters.
and game 3.
Never quite found a place. I remember playing around with him in like the standard
Okay.
Command the Dreadhorde decks, but it didn't quite fit.
Sure.
I'll go to.
We're gonna bring him up in a second here. Chris gonna snap a Tarna to turn. Grab a Steam Vents. Johnny the Great-Hearted. Oh yeah, Vigilance. That's the static. Gain 3 life. put a +1/+1 counter on each creature and a loyalty counter on each planeswalker. So Dave can stack up some planeswalkers here. Seems good. Never mind. Oh no, we're just going to take him down. He has really high loyalty. Oh,
Wow.
not that high.
Johnny's very dead.
I feel like if you're Dave, you feel all right that your opponent just double bolted your Ajani after it gained you 3 life.
Yeah, that's gain 9. I'm about it.
On top.
4-color Delver, best disappointment in Modern. Facts. Actually, can we come up with a better disappointment, Chad?
Foothills.
All right. What if Foothills?
Uh,
Where's the 5-drop? It's got 2 cards in hand.
20.
Why you gotta hurt me like that, Vibe Pizza?
Disappointments in Modern, I guess Merfolk maybe? That's one
Ooh.
that's a little,
Wishful fish.
yeah.
Merfolk players are committed, though.
It's true. No matter how outclassed the tribe gets, people are devoted.
I appreciate decks that have very loyal followings.
Filtered blue.
Here we go.
Black.
Blue, black,
We're doing the things.
green,
blue, black,
white,
red, green, white.
Green to light.
Bring 2 light. I would spell pierce that if you can.
I think we have a Force of Negation in Chris's hand that could just be hard cast.
So options here actually. You could force this, or you could wait for him to get the spell, betting on it not being a creature, but likely it's going to be a Niv Mizzet.
Oh, why did you do that,
Why did
Chris?
you? Okay, so noteworthy. 3 mana is an option for just hard casting force here, and I don't know what he's going to do. Maybe end of turn, but I might have not pitched to that. Also, that Serum Visions is exiled, or the Thought Scour is exiled, which is actually relevant. So I'm gonna hop out for just
Okay,
a second.
great. I'll hold out here with Chad. And Bring Delight is also exiled.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Birds. And
Yeah, the likely read there, I think, is that Bring to Light is going to get Niv Mizzet. So forcing the Bring to Light makes a lot of sense. If you had a reason to believe that it wouldn't get Niv Mizzet, you could bet on trying to 2-for-1 there. But
And lightning bolt the bird.
a Snap Bolt the Bird, classic trio.
Yeah, I've definitely been in a situation where I've been playing a counter spell deck where I have been able to counter a pact, Summoner's Pact, and thought like, oh no, I've got this cryptic command, I'll just counter whatever they get, then they'll have to pay the upkeep cost, and then it's like, go get Carnage Tyrant. And then it's sad times. So
let's go ahead
countering the card
and
that you know you can counter, I feel like,
2
has
damage
its
and
merits.
discard a card.
In response
Yep.
to the
Well,
Colgan's commands.
Yeah, we still have a little bit of an exile problem here.
15. Or sorry.
The bolt that hit the bird there, when he's already got 5 mana, 1 of each color, and very few cards in hand, I actually am maybe not about bolting the bird there. I think I go face with that bolt.
Yeah, definitely. Or save Snapcaster for like Snapcaster Force of Negation seems
Yeah.
pretty relevant.
Top deck magic.
Yeah, I feel like the situation with Force of Negation, if you haven't played a lot with it, you might think you have to exile a card to cast a spell, which is kind of like Force of Will and Legacy. I've definitely found myself almost pitching a card when I had 5 open mana, and it's like, wait a second.
Yeah, yeah.
This has the option to just hard cast.
It is something you can do. I'm definitely a big fan of whenever possible just paying the mana cost, because going down 2 cards, it's really good to have the option when you just have to stop something, but it is otherwise very taxing. So Windswept Heath here for Dave, and we saw he picked up a Kaya's Guile in hand, which is not super relevant right now, and with 2 Astrolabes it's castable should it become relevant. Blood Moon here not doing a ton. Okay, well, speaking of relevant,
I'm going
but I imagine we're going to see an adapt in response here.
filter black.
1, 2, 3, 4 lands, and he has 2 in graveyard, but he should have 3, so he can't adapt either way, or we would point out that
You exile your graveyard.
He-
and I then pull it.
yeah, he doesn't have the mana to adapt either way, or I would go out and point out that that
Boom.
force should be in the graveyard,
He died.
because now it should be exiled anyway.
Alright.
And why did the Terramander die?
Let's bring up Kaya's Guile. I can't remember all the modes of
Yeah.
that card.
We're-
And filter white.
Kaya's Guile, each opponent sacrifices a creature.
There we go.
So that would be why the Terramander died.
Sigarda, Host of Herons.
And we get a Sigarda, Host of Herons, cast through a Blood Moon.
Niv Mizzet Reborn, ladies and gentlemen. This deck does rainbows real well. Hey, Nuggalo! It's good to see you again.
Untap. Draw a card.
All right. We have a beat stick.
Swinging 6.
Bam. Take 6.
Take 6.
Do we have a follow? 1 card in hand.
Feels like Chris is going to have a pretty rough time just dealing with this Sigarda.
Yeah, both players are top decking, and Sigarda was a good one.
This is going to be.
That's a
Bring to
windswept.
life
Oh, it's a mountain. Never mind.
4.
Silly me.
Red. Filter 2.
All right. What we got?
Bring to life for 4.
We're going to figure out how to bring to light here through a Blood Moon.
What are we getting for 4?
I'm not sure how. Oh, he's going to. Yeah, he's going to get it for 4. So that works fine. He's got a lot of options.
Master. Master the
Hunt
Felt.
Master
Hunt
seems
Master.
like a fine decision.
Yeah,
Let's close out the game here.
things are closing quickly.
And then I will get a 2/2 wolf. And gain 2 life. Go to 23.
Get a 2/2 woof.
Do we have the wolf token? This is a real test.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
See, when we already have dice and weird cards with its counters to, we gotta work on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, worth noting,
All right, let's go.
if
game
you
3.
ever want to be featured on Portland Paper, bring tokens, because you run a high risk of being shamed on stream.
I would say, yeah, it's probably a definite situation there.
I mean, I've brought cruddy tokens and been yellow carded. Like,
I definitely was called out on stream for not having Prowess Monk tokens when I played Monastery Mentor. And do you know those are really hard to find?
yeah, they are. Also, that's a high bar. I had Beast Within tokens that I literally, right before the tournament, I was like, in case I get on stream, I'm just gonna scribble a cartoon beast on a piece of paper and shove it in a sleeve with a card, and I still got crap
man.
for it.
I think that's passable as long as it accurately represents game state.
It said Beast and
yeah.
3/3.
Yeah, I was trying to cheat with Human Knights for Prowess Monks, and that was bad call.
It was a bad night for you.
It did go downhill from there.
And your opponent, hopefully.
All right, looks like there weren't any real big sideboard changes.
I'm gonna yank those Blood Moons.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I feel like it's a situation where you could get lucky, but with you have to assume Dave's playing for Astrolabs
seem like it's
and a
too
fair amount of basics
easy,
when
though.
you're playing Prismatic
Yeah,
Vista, that if you don't have a way
Yeah,
to
I
like
was gonna say, running a lot of
turn
cantrips
1 or
doesn't
turn
help.
2 Blood Moon, I don't think it's a card worth having.
Yeah, and he just saw last game, bring to light cast for 4 through a Blood Moon.
I'll stick it out.
Well, it stopped him from getting to visit, maybe.
Sure.
Sigarda did the work.
I'm gonna play Steam Fence, go to 18.
We're gonna shock in a Steam Vents for Chris here. Follow that up with a Terramander. Okay, I see Opt and Force in hand, so we'll see where that goes. Wooded Foothills, pass.
Draw.
No Astrolabe this time. See another Terramander, I think?
Attack for 1.
Big
Get in for
Getting
one.
in for 1.
19.
Yeah.
Tick, tick, tick. That clock.
At least with Terramander, you know that it's not going to flip.
Yeah, it's
Um,
true.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna crack for hills.
So
We're gonna
there's-
opt main phase. That hand has no lands in it. That wasn't a land either. Was that a land? No, it was in a braid. I can't quite tell, but it was a red card.
So you're at 18.
Dave's gonna go to 18,
Cut if you'd like.
grabbing a overgrown tomb.
Oh, yeah.
Dave's saying I'm not afraid of Blood Moon when he just have 1 land.
No fear. Yeah, like really no fear. But the missed land drop is a good reason not to have fear when your deck is full of fetch lands.
Play foothills and pasture.
Okay, Foothills, no crack, no red and 6.
Upkeep.
which would honestly be a great reason to go get an Overgrown Tomb if you knew you were just going to cycle your fetch lands over and over again and be able to pick up as many basics as you liked.
We'll crack this. Go to 17.
Tarn, crack, Tarn. Down to 17. Gonna grab an island. Fetch around my Blood Moon. When the moon is full. Did anyone notice it was Friday the 13th and there was a harvest moon?
Pyro.
I didn't do anything spooky. I totally spaced out on that.
Eh, I didn't really either. I went out to look at the harvest moon and it was Portland, so I couldn't see it.
16.
So we have young Pyromancer joining the party. Dave goes to 16 off a fetch. No fear. Gonna get a Sacred Foundry. I might have started fetching a basic there, seeing that island come down.
Yeah, I kind of do just want to see Blood Moon now on turn
Yeah.
3 for because you.
It's a lot of hubris
Yeah.
right here. Especially because you get a basic. If you get a basic, you're gonna get snow basic. So then if you draw an Astrolabe, you can play it. This is hubristic.
Wings of Teeth and Pasture.
All right. We have access
Oh,
to a basic.
there's another land.
Bluff.
Spire Bluff Canal. I don't see the Blood Moon in hand. I think I see a second force.
3.
Take 3.
Take 3.
Going to 13.
Pass.
You turn Heath.
It's a clock. Gonna crack Heath.
12.
No fear.
Just hang it out there.
Cut if you'd like.
Gonna untap.
Draw for turn.
Gonna draw. It was an Astrolabe. Feeling like
I played that very, very, very.
maybe we wanted a basic.
Let's
Yeah,
go
you definitely have to have a snow land to cast that Astrolabe. Oh, there we go.
Draw card.
There we go. Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if I had the Blood
Ooh.
Moon in my hand, I maybe would have countered that.
You're
But-
not wrong. That was an
Yeah.
interesting consideration.
Go ahead and go.
And I would have as well. If you had the Blood Moon, just go ahead and play 3 and cancel.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, this
just
is probably the better
remember
thing to cancel.
Okay.
That you can just pay its
Cool.
cast.
So we
What?
get 4,
See what
he
happens.
will-
It resolved.
Did it? That's
Yeah,
okay.
Chris said
I would.
okay.
If you have 2 force negations in hand, I would strongly recommend countering it to Fairy.
All right.
Draw card. And pass turn.
Maybe Chris feels that he can just attack it down if his Pyromancer gets bounced, but
But if you cast the force there, Teferi's gone for good, and also you get an elemental token, and you're swinging for 4 next turn.
Big one.
I'm 100% in your camp of the analysis of the situation. I was just trying to think of what the especially if you're not going to attack the Teferi, because then you're not going to be able to use your force.
Yeah.
So
The attack went face here, so
Let's go pillar.
there is a strategy that I am not seeing.
I feel like these newer planeswalkers, if you haven't played against them a lot, the static abilities can get often overlooked. And myself, as someone who plays both Narset and Little Teferi, have missed things where my opponent might draw a card, and it's like, oh wait, you're not supposed to with Narset out.
Yeah. It's.
So we're gonna fight.
I mean, how do you find that when you interact with a player at a
And so
not at a competitive event and they miss a static, something like that?
Well, static, it's not like a trigger that you can
Yeah.
miss, so it's like a games rule violation. So just call a judge, but then
Yeah.
usually you'll figure out a way to put the trigger on the stack or to rewind.
Yeah, rewind seems good. So we've got somebody friend of wolves. I can't remember who's the friend of wolves here. but-
Trostani.
No, not
Trostani?
Trostani. Tolsimir?
Tolsimir.
Tolsimir, friend of
Right.
wolves. Comes with friend, is a wolf. We're going to go ahead and opt. Up to 2 spells in the yard. Not enough for a big boy yet.
Scar.
Thought Scour, getting closer. Gonna Scour a Mana Leak and a Young Pyromancer. Pick up a Scalding Tarn.
Land for turn.
Yep.
Gonna play the Tarn. Where are we going with this
Swing
Turban?
At you.
Gonna go face again.
4 damage. see.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We do not have enough to adapt
Okay.
here.
Yeah, just one. 10.
13. I gained 3 off of.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are at 13 for Dave.
My turn.
And we'll play a Terramander.
Sure.
Pass.
Another Pteramander joins the fray.
Let's go ahead and play Plains.
Gonna add a snow-covered
Will
plains here.
tick
More
up
Blood Moon
Teferi.
insurance. Teferi ticks up.
Swinging at you for 6.
Things that are rude include instant speed Ring Delight.
Oh, that would be cool to see.
Yeah.
Like Chris is-
Notably, you don't want to Bring Delight a Niv Mizzet that way because I believe timing restrictions still apply to the exiled spell, which, if not a sorcery, cannot be cast at instant speed with Teferi's help.
Right. Whichever one I'm missing.
But we can,
So, tap
instant
for 5
speed Deafening
colors.
Clarion.
Is it?
Oh, or just Niv Mizzet. Seems fine. How many hits? 1, 2, 3,
7, 8, 9, 10.
4, 5. We're going to get 5 cards.
I'll take
Totally fair.
Helix, Guile, Veto, Izzet Charm.
Helix, Guile, Veto, and Is It Charm? So we've got a modal spell that does several things, a counter spell, a planeswalker, a lightning helix,
Pass.
and an there's just a lot of modes. Honestly, I think this Bring to Light deck is pretty hard to play.
Let's see.
Yeah, and it feels like it's a little slow too. Like if you're playing a deck like humans that can get under it, it seems like it might be a bit random, the answers that you have, which sometimes will line up really well against the format, but sometimes not.
Yeah, I think of it as sort of a big mid-range deck. Like it's a mid-range deck that goes over the top of other mid-range decks. We're gonna opt. We're gonna bottom. What have we picked up?
I will Vapor Snag the Mizzet.
That's
We're
a
gonna-
bold move, sir. We're vapor snagging the Niv Mizzet.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. If there was, if this was gonna close out, that would be one thing. But we're gonna have time in round called here.
All right, this is turn 0.
So
You got a dice?
I do.
turn 0
Okay.
for Chris.
So, finish your turn.
Gonna see what we can do here. Try to close it out. Dave at 12. Terramanders right now. 1, 2, 3,
Alright.
4,
Oh,
5,
6
6.
all
Terramanders adapting for
okay.
2, which is pretty good.
I'll have one going at Teferi, one going at you.
Yeah.
Nuance.
Before damage,
Let's adapt that one.
I'll pump the Terramander going at your Teferi.
Sure.
Okay.
So he's
I'll go.
I think I like.
11 all.
I think I would have liked getting in with the Terramander earlier to take out the Teferi,
Alright.
probably. So then you're not,
So-
effectively throwing away 2 damage here.
It does feel like
Um,
the turn after the Teferi resolved, there was the option to attack
Yeah.
the Teferi for 1 to kill it, and now we're seeing how that decision has kind of come back.
Yeah.
Where if Chris had done that, both of these could be going at Dave. But now we're probably just gonna get some lightning helixes.
Snow covered forest
Yeah.
for turn.
I think the other option here was just to attack Teferi for 1 and keep him off his bounce mode.
Yeah.
So you can't have your adapted Terramander immediately bounced. And then just get Dave down to 7 and make him
Turn 1.
eminently more killable. Then again,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
you're going to need some way to stop Niv Mizzet because then you're not lethal on the next turn. Unless you have a bolt in hand and then, swing with 2 5/5s, bolt you. Game over. The old bolt to face.
Swinging for 6.
Come in for 6. Turn 1 of extra turns.
alright. I'll take 6.
Blam, down to 5. Do we just want to Niv Mizzet again? Are we gonna hold up some interaction?
Kind of like holding up lightning helix.
Play Brindlelight.
Oh. We have Niv Mizzet in hand. We're gonna bring to life for something else. Is it Clarion?
Force
No.
negation, exiling Terramander.
Cards in hand.
2.
This is a situation where I might have let the Bring to Light resolve and exiled the other spell. because you know he has Niv Mizzet in hand.
Yeah, Chris might not know how many Nib Mizzets are.
Right,
In
but I think
deck.
if you have one in hand, you're unlikely to want to get a second legend.
Yeah.
The only thing he could get that
Oh wow.
isn't a creature is probably Kess, and I don't think Kess
Okay.
does a ton
So
here.
if Dave has a Lightning Helix, I would take this moment when Chris has the Tarn on the stack to Lightning Helix the Pteramander that is not adapted. Because if Chris gets to untap, that's going to give Chris a window to actually win the game here.
I agree, and I believe he did pick up a Lightning Helix off of that Niv Mizzet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that might have been a moment to go ahead and clip that and make Chris's lethal attack very difficult, because right now Dave has a pretty good chance of, well, if Chris gets a little greedy and tries to adapt that Pteramander, then you can snag it and take his mana. But if Chris instead just wants to, okay, here it is.
To pay 2,
I think there may be a
3,
response.
4, 5, 6. Yep.
Okay.
So-
In response to
Here's the
that,
response.
I'll helix it.
And so then you're having him invest
Right.
mana in the adapt.
Helix. I'll opt.
On the other hand,
If
if
you hit a counter spell, maybe, but you can also just adapt again because
you can adapt again. So now it costs 1.
All
See
right.
if Chris sees the
So it's dead.
option
Lightning
there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna let that Helix resolve.
And I'll take 5.
Double adapting is an option here. The other thing Dave might have considered with helixing on his turn is if Chris doesn't try to adapt, he can just swing for 6.
Pteramander.
Sure.
Oh, we've got another Pteramander.
Yep.
Pass.
Untap.
Oh yeah, and then he holds the adapt and response. So it's pretty much the same either way. The gaining 3 is not irrelevant to this clock though.
Yeah, if Chris had adapted the second time, Dave would have.
Charm your Pteramander.
Okay.
And then come in for 6.
I would maybe adapt in response
Oh,
to that as well.
Is it charm? Counter target non-creature deals 2 damage.
Sorry, 2 damage.
I would
1, 2,
consider
3, 4,
yes.
5,
We're getting there.
Yes.
I'll pump 'em.
Pump it up.
So maybe Dave saw that Chris didn't get that interaction that he could do it at instant speed the previous turn and
Yeah.
was trying to sort of, well, if my opponent didn't realize he could do that, I'm going to go for it again.
Well, Chris did adapt at instant speed. He just didn't think of the double adapting.
Let's play a Johnny Greathearted.
Oh,
And I'll take him
the life
down,
gain, real rough.
giving these guys
Yeah, if we had 3 Pteramanders right now, we'd be significantly more threatening.
So they're both 4/4s.
They are both
We have 2 4/4s.
I think that's it.
We're gonna need to block. I may have missed the damage somewhere off a fetch.
2-1. Yes.
All right. So we're gonna see this going to Dave. The rainbows get it this time.
That would have been.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just
well,
blocking the sneaky Pteramander.
But,
could've killed the Teferi.
So that was round 1, everybody. Glad you're all here. We're gonna take a quick break and come back with another match
That
for
was the
round 2.
real-
Yeah, it looks like everyone's wrapping up, and we should be back in
That was the real-
three minutes or so,
who knows
something
what
like
happened
that.
after
But we
that,
will
No, for
see
sure.
you
That would've
all
helped.
in the
What's up?
very near future.
It was.